going on, Mutha Truckers? Welcome to Mutha Trucker News. Email us at muthatruckernews@gmail.com. So today here we have on Kendra Tucker. I appreciate you for being on the show. You know, I looked you up. I try to be a decent journalist. No, I'm just kidding. I already knew everything about you. You know, I did all my research, but people want to know kind of the person running the ship behind the whole operation. And since this is more trucker carrier centric, they do have questions, they do have concerns. And, you know, maybe just by having the connection with you, we can help you help us both be better, right?
Well, Alex, thanks so much for having me. I'm
Yeah.
Kendra Tucker. I'm the CEO of Truckstop. Our oldest customers actually call us the ITG, the Internet Truckstop Group. So if you've been with us for 2 decades or more, I'm sure that's how you know us. I became CEO of Truckstop in 2022. And I have to tell you, I'm super passionate about truckers, particularly the small trucker. I say this to our team all the time. I know I don't look like a trucker, but I think about truckers and trucking constantly and what my team can do to just make it easier for those who are on the road.
The big one that I even promote, because I'd be lying if I wasn't saying this, right? I gotta stay brave here, right? You know, does Truckstop believe in owner operators and carriers, especially small carriers, you know, having direct freight? Because I talk about that a
Yeah.
lot, right? And I go, you know, hey guys, there's a lot of middlemen, middle women. There's a lot of applications that you can use. But if you can get some direct freight, you know, that's where it's gonna pay you, right? So well, what are your thoughts about that?
100%. So I've had the chance to spend time directly with some of our customers. I've done my best to actually get on the road and ride with people who use Truckstop. I had the chance to ride with one of our longstanding customers. He's been with us for, I think it's 12 or 13 years. And he told me these things. He said, get about 60% of the freight I move from Truckstop. He said the rest of it comes from relationships with about 10 or so brokers. And then he told me he's got 25 to 30 shippers that are customers of his, which I thought was really fascinating. And so we
Mm.
had this whole conversation about how he's built those relationships over the course of time. And he, like other truckers that use us, would tell you they may find some of those relationships actually through the truck stop relationships that they have. And then they build it into these longer lasting customers that end up coming to them directly, so they don't even have to go through a broker. What he was describing was it's not necessarily always reliable though, and so he's got his broker relationships and then the load board support to help him smooth out how he makes money. So yeah, we're all for it. In fact, I think what we're in the business of is trying to build trust. So helping carriers build as much trust as they can with
Mm.
brokers and then hopefully with shippers, so that they've got these longer lasting relationships that just help them make more reliable money over time. Yeah.
And I had a great conversation with Brent the other day, and he says, "Use us when you need us," you know. And I go, "Hey, I thought that was pretty cool." And so that leads me to this, because as we're having a conversation on this, you know, I have some questions I asked the mother truckers out there.
Yeah.
Hey, what would you like me to ask her? You know, and so now they're going to use their words. This is not my words. Okay. So
Okay.
a driver here, right, going with what you said, right, says she needs to get rid of all the fake brokers that are scamming drivers. And then I have another one saying, you know, we go on all the load boards, you
Mm-hmm.
know, Truckstop, DAT, one, you name it, just all
Yeah.
of them. And there seems to be just so much double brokering happening.
Mm.
You know, what are you seeing on your side, and what are you guys trying to do about it? Because I know this is a big topic right now, and I'm sure going through 2025.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a big topic for the last 2 years. I think we can all agree fraud has been at a ridiculous high since we got
Mm.
into the down cycle. I mean, we saw it grow like two, three, four times over the past couple of years. So, what our customers have said is that Truckstop is the most trusted load board. This is from their mouths, to your point, not mine. This is what they tell us, is when it comes to load boards, they regularly have encountered fraud within our ecosystem. We've got a lot of things in place to help us root it out. So, for example, we were founded in 1995. And one of the things that we set up upon opening our doors was what we call the security and assurance team. It's a team of humans that validate every single carrier and every single broker that comes into truckstop.com. So you have to have an active authority. You have to be vetted through us. We have our own system, our own data that we use to make sure that there aren't fraudulent actors. And last year, over the course of this year, we've stopped more than 11,000 fraudulent attempts from getting onto our load board. So we take it really seriously. We want to make sure that everybody can trust who they're interacting with in our environment. So it's something we work on hard all the time.
Because I would say this, right? And you brought that up a little earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
Carriers and small owner operators, I love the ones and twos. Those are the ones that, especially the ones, right?
Yeah.
They feel like a lot of this technology marketplaces, they're for the broker and they're not for the carrier, right? As much. And so what's your thoughts on something like that when a driver says, hey, I feel like, Truckstop is more for the brokers than for us on their platform? What would you say to that person?
I say to them, and I say this all the time, is our mission at Truckstop is to help truckers, particularly small truckers, find freight. As part of that, we find ways to help that freight find them. And that's what we've been doing for 30 years. 2025 marks our 30th year in this business. So we do all kinds of things to put the carrier first. One example is we've recently set up a partnership exclusively with OOIDA to be the load board that partners with them. We want to hear directly from them. We want to hear from the carriers that are members of OOIDA. And we tailor then our products and our services based on what we hear. So we want to hear it directly from them. I, myself, my team, we spend time, like I said, on the road with carriers, understanding what it's like to actually be a trucker. We provide technology that people have right on their phones. I want to know what it's like to use our tech alongside other tech that they might have. So I watch them as they move from our app to another app to another app to another app, see how many clicks it takes, how much friction exists, how many times they're doing it while they're actually driving, like studying what that looks like. So that way we can then refine how our product shows up in the natural environment, right? Like in the cab of the truck. So we spend a lot of time thinking about how do we design this app, this technology, in order to serve the needs of our truckers. Right now, just so you know, one of the things we're working on is figuring out how to surface the most relevant loads directly to the carrier who's logged in. So based on what we know about them, how do we put the loads in front of them that are the lanes that they're running on regularly, that are the brokers they like to work with, the brokers they're already onboarding with. So that's one of the things that we're working on enhancing and bringing out to our customers in 2025.
Someone did have a question saying, they're looking for like, flatbed, loads. And then on the application, it'll come up box truck and come up a couple other things. And, it made it a little bit difficult for them to navigate. So, the fact that you guys are working on that, I don't have to ask that question. So you answered that carrier's question, and speaking of that, this isn't a sponsored video, but Brandon, Allen, and all of them over there want to do something special for you guys because, hey, I always like free, so what they did was I said, give me something that's free that I could give for the carriers that watch Mutha Trucker News. And so what they did was they said 30 days free if you're a new person signing up for this application, right? And so remember, if you don't like it by day 29, you better unsubscribe.
We think you'll like it by day 29, though.
You're hoping, right? And,
if not, you'll give me feedback.
Yeah, and I will, and that's what we're here for. We're for the understanding of what can work. But I do appreciate that. So for all the drivers, hey, I'll have a link down below. Hey, 30 days free, but by day 29, if you are unhappy, make sure you unsubscribe from it because if not, you're gonna get charged again. And right. I'm just throwing that out there. But I think that's a great thing, because there's a lot of people that don't do things like that. You know, they want to get discounts, which is great.
Right.
I like free 99, girl. You know what I mean? We're truckers. You know, we're going through
Right. Well,
a
I want
really
your
hard time.
feedback.
You know.
You know, I really do. I want to know what the experience is like. I want to know how we can make it better. So that's great. If they do get to day 29 and they're like, I don't know, Kendra, it wasn't for me, I want to hear about that too.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. You know, no, you know, we talked a little bit about, you know, the fraud. We talked a little bit about the technology. You
Yeah.
know, people. I was talking to Alan on the phone. He's like, "Oh, he might bring this up." Oh, I'm definitely bringing this up.
Oh no.
I want to, you know what you heard about trucker tools. I wasn't shocked. I heard
Right.
from the grapevine as well.
Yeah.
But you know what, FreightWaves put some out there saying that DAT bought trucker tools.
Yeah.
And is that a big move right there for them, or is that something that you think as a load board you guys just have to continue to find ways just to connect with, you know, the marketplace?
Yeah. So I think a couple things. One, congratulations to the team at Trucker Tools for
Good for
creating
you.
such a successful product, right? I know there are a number of truckers that I have talked to, rode with, who use the solution. So I understand the value that it provides to our carriers. So congrats to that team. Second, I actually think I think that we're going to see a lot of consolidation happen
Mm,
across the industry as we go into 2025. You've already seen it some in 2024 with brokers buying other brokers. I think it's going to happen for technology as well. So let's just say that this is probably the beginning of a wave. As a load board, as a technology that thinks about truckers all the time, it is really good for us to continue to integrate, combine with other services that we know brings truckers value. So when I think about my job, my day job, what I'm constantly doing is thinking about how we bring our freight marketplace together with things like factoring, which we've done in the past, how we brought it together with carrier onboarding and compliance with RMIS, and then how we use all that data to do things like pop up the most relevant load or the most relevant freight or the most relevant broker to a carrier. It just makes their lives easier. So all in all, I think that combination across the tech space is really good for
mm,
the carrier, right?
yeah.
Especially if we can continue to figure out how to make that tech really usable. So one of the things
Mm,
I talk about in our company all the time is, we have the chance to be technologists, and that can sound like, I don't know, really highfalutin, honestly, right? It's that we get the chance to bring tech to a really down to earth community, which means we're not thinking about like how to make it, I don't know, like the next Facebook or Meta or whatever it is. We're thinking about how do we pop up loads, surface them so that way carriers can see them while they're literally on the go. Or if it's tracking, everybody has to, click the link to say, yes, I'm okay to be tracked. What if we can present freight as you're being tracked to help you not have to deadhead? All of that is good innovation. And the more we combine and bring technologies together, the more we're going to be able to do things like that. So overall, I'm for the combinations that will
no,
happen.
no, that's good, you know. And look, there's only two things you can do. We either can hate on people, or we could just big them up and then compete on the back end. You know what I mean?
That's
And so
right.
that brings up something, right? Is
Yeah.
there are people that to say, you know, I use both DAT and Truckstop, right?
Hmm.
And so we talked a little bit about this behind the scenes. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes people have a Costco card, or some. Hey, I went to Walgreens today and I couldn't find what I wanted, and I bought something from there. And then I went to CVS and bought something from there, right? And
Yeah.
so, you know, what is your thoughts to all the truck drivers and carriers out there when they're using both products? I mean, of course you would like them just to use yours, but what are your thoughts about that?
Actually, I really mean this sincerely. I really want truckers to be successful. And if using both helps them to be the most successful, I'm for it. I really am. I think about it as, it's probably like having insurance. I don't want our truckers driving empty. I don't want them having to search day and night to find the next load. So I want them to have at their fingertips the ability to make money. So I'm really for it. Truckstop is also, like I said, we're more than just the freight marketplace. We offer factoring to our carriers. We help them onboard. Hundreds of thousands of carriers actually touch Truckstop without ever knowing it as they onboard into brokers they haven't used before. So as a whole, we just care about our carriers having the opportunity to make money. So if that means that they're going to use us and somebody else, I'm for it.
Every week you guys are in meetings and
Yeah.
you're trying to connect with these carriers, right? In certain ways. You don't have to tell us the behind the scenes of what everything you guys talk about, but I know that has to be a big part of it.
Yeah.
What would you like all the carriers to know out here? But besides, downloading Truckstop, because that's what they're thinking. They're watching this and they're like, this is gonna be a commercial. That's
It's not. It's not.
Right?
Although I will tell you, one of the most
Yeah.
surprising things I heard over the last couple of months was that people think we're more expensive than we actually are. And so I am here to tell you that we are not the most expensive offering on the market. In fact, you can be a Truckstop customer for $42 a month, which is only $500 across the course of a year. And I think any of our truckers will tell you they're finding loads that are more than $500, across the year. So that's probably the number one thing is we are not the most expensive. Check this out, please. You get access to all the freight that we've got for $42. So that's thing one. Thing two, and this might be a little bit of a public service announcement. Hopefully I can make this, which is, we were talking about fraud. We spend a lot of time thinking about fraud, whether that's in the market, the freight marketplace, or whether that's through that RMIS product that we've got. And the amount of fraud that we've seen that negatively hurts carriers is just so high. And so one of the things that we've been trying to do is educate carriers about how to be less susceptible to fraud. One of the things that we see right now over the past few months has been something that we call bandits, where it's a bad actor who's basically taking a carrier's real contact information, intercepts it as they're actually trying to connect with a broker and successfully impersonates them, which ultimately gets them blackballed or just blacklisted, and they can't use that MC anymore. And this is it's highly preventable by doing things like making sure you're not using the same passwords for our site, other people's site, just any accounts in general. By setting up those security questions, the multi-factor authentication, where you get the text to make sure it's you, all of those things. Just there are some simple security features that truckers can set up to prevent that set of circumstances. Because when we talk to our truckers who've been affected by it, it's just a hard time to come back. Usually it results, like I said, in having to, get a whole new MC and start from scratch. So that's the one thing that we've seen a lot happening over the course of this year, that we want to make sure that carriers know how to protect themselves.
As Truckstop, you guys just see so much data, right? What's going on here? 2025.
Yeah.
Are we coming back? It's been 2 years of destruction. Carriers are going broke. Everybody's going broke. I'm sure even people that are signing up with load boards and anything to do with trucking, it's just everybody's broke right now, right? And that's just the truth, right? From what you guys see, I know it's an estimate, but where do you see the freight rates kind of coming back on 2025, or what do you really see happening? What are these trends?
Yeah. So for the first time in a while, the trends are starting to go up. So there's a few things that I see. One is load volumes are higher than they were year over year. So I started tracking this in about the October timeframe. And so October, November, we'll wait and see where December comes up. But in the spot market, load volumes are higher, somewhere between the 20 and 30% that they were last year. So that's a good sign, right? They'd kind of hit that bottom, but now they're coming up. As far as invoice values, this is what I look at through the factoring business, is what are rates doing? We see it right now. It's got some seasonal effect to it, but if we're forecasting, we'd expect it to come up about 5 to 10% over the course of 2025. So that's good news because it could be a negative 5 to 10%, which
Right.
we've all seen and felt. It's not going to be like it was the heyday of 2021 and early 2022. No one's forecasting that, at least not on our end. But we do think we'll stop this like bouncing around the bottom that we've been doing for the past 27, 28 months or so. So fingers crossed, it looks like it's going up a bit. I'm just trying to temper expectations, right? We got really
Right.
spoiled 2 years ago. I don't think it's going to be that, but we see it going up.
Okay, cool. No, no, thank you for that. Yeah, let me see what kind of questions we have. Anything good here? Here's one from Alfredo, right? So he's a customer. He's a
Yeah.
customer. He
Okay.
goes, "How
Thanks.
accurate is rate insight? We use this metric to negotiate with brokers, and for us, brokers hardly ever go up to the booked estimate rate. On average, in the Mountain West region, their estimate is significantly higher than that of DT for the same lane. What
Mm,
are we missing here, or does DET just have brokers who pay significantly less to their carriers?" So that
mm,
was a whopping question right there, right? So this rate insight,
yes.
right? How good is this thing?
So Rate Insight is that's a piece of technology that uses AI. It is taking data from 5 to 7 or so information sources. So everything from factored loads that we've got in our ecosystem, from TMS integrations that we have, from rates that are posted on the load board. So a whole wide array of information sources. Sometimes that rate is going to change. So if you are comparing it this week or this month to last week or last month, depending on what's happening on those lanes, they can vary up and
Yeah.
down quite a bit, right? We've seen this. It depends on all kinds of circumstances, big storms, supply chain disruption, et cetera. So
Mm.
rate data can vary. So you just want to think about the time frame you're looking at it and which lanes you're comparing.
Okay, no, that's good. These are questions that you've never seen, and I think you're doing a good job. So Jason,
Thanks, Alex.
Jason has a question here, and
Would you
this
tell
one,
me if I'm doing bad?
hey, I'm telling you right now, the people that watch me don't even like me. Okay, so
Okay.
there ain't no help. I mean, anytime I do anything, they just think that I'm getting so rich off of something or something like that, and I do it for them. You know what I mean? And I do it for them, and we have fun on the show, but it's just one of those things, right? Some people they are what they feel, and you know what? I get it right now
Right, sure.
because truckers we're hurting, and we're hurting so bad right now. And
Yeah.
I'm over here. Yes, I am over here just making videos. I'm not driving the truck anymore.
Yeah.
But you know what? Use me as a punching bag. I can take it.
Yeah.
Now, I've been doing this for almost 10 years making videos. You talked to me 3 years ago. I was crying in a corner, when they're like, "Alex, you look more fat." Now, I did a video the other day and we walked, look, check this out. We walked up a mountain, and a little mountain that there's a traffic like pile up,
Yeah.
and I was breathing hard. They're like, "This fat ass needs to," and I'm just like, it hurts because it's true. I mean, you know what I mean? You
Wait,
know,
do you think you're more healthy now or when you
heck
were
no, heck
driving?
no. I was a mover, so I was a mover moving furniture,
Right.
and so
Oh,
when I was
right.
doing that, man, I was good. My wife was loving me. Right now, there's just too much to love. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but,
Right. That's
but
right.
this is the thing that I would say here, right before we get to this last thing. A lot of companies, I think, of course, because they're publicly traded, you got to watch, you don't want to Elon Musk it, even though sometimes he's like, "I don't think my stock is worth this much." I mean, he says what he says, right?
He
And
really does.
yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I would say this, you doing these things are good things. Um, yes, they might not believe in everything, but if they know that they can talk to the person at the top, it's almost like that's why people love knowing the head chef or the restaurant owner or
Right.
whoever that is, because it's just someone that can kind of make decisions when it comes to certain things. So I'm hoping that what I can do is every time people have questions about things, I could send them to your team, and then
Yeah.
you guys kind of analyze it. And I think anyone that really cares about their industry if they're willing to kind of be hit with the punching bag or be the punching bag,
Yeah.
it's a good thing. Social media, it is kind of scary because it seems like people are just talking trash. I'm telling you, you already know. It's like middle school, high school. They're talking trash about you regardless if you want to or not, right? And
Right.
so for you to actually be on the show, I think they're going to respect that a lot, right? And I'm just letting you know the temperature of the room is
Yeah.
all this technology, all these marketplaces, they
Yeah.
benefit and give advantage only to the freight brokers. And I know that's part of your business too. And
Right.
then the carriers and the small business, truck drivers, they feel like they're just getting taken advantage of all day long. So
Sure.
that's
Yeah,
kind of the thing,
we have so much compassion and care so deeply about the trucker. So it's good to know that that's the sentiment. And I'm telling you, Alex,
Yeah.
we talk about this all the time. What we talk about at Truckstop is how to build technology that puts control back in the hands of the carriers. Like
Mm.
we really care deeply about, first, how do we help carriers? And all we're trying to do is balance out on the other side. And I really hate that it comes across as like an us versus them. It's really not. It's like, it's an ecosystem and we're trying to connect it. And so we're using tech the best way we can to connect it and make it as frictionless as possible. But I could not be more cognizant, could not be more aware that that carriers do feel like they get taken advantage of broadly, right? I'm not saying that's that's specific to us. We do what we can to
Oh,
build it so that way more control goes back to the
oh.
carrier.
And
Right.
the fact that you're willing to talk to me, I don't know why, but a lot of people are scared to talk to me because, I'm going to ask some questions and I'm just going to give the pulse and the temperature of the room
Yeah.
and we go from there. But I think that the fact that you're just willing to talk to me lets
Yeah.
me know that you are trying to be better for these carriers when they want to use your application. And that's great. I think that's a good thing. And I think that's a great start.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I also have said this, I was talking about it with Brent and Alan, is every year I have gone out on the road with our carriers, right? Where they let me ride shotgun and see what it's like and
Yeah.
hear all the stories and actually help them. I mean, I don't know that I'm actually touching freight. They don't always let me touch
Yeah.
it,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
and I'm there so that way I can have the experience. And so I'm really open to doing that and certainly, open it up to your listeners for those that are Truckstop customers that are interested in a ride along. I'm interested in a ride along. We should do this, get together.
Oh, don't say that. Okay. Hey, all the mother truckers, you hear that, you know,
Okay, wait,
you
not
know,
everyone. Just
you heard that. You heard that. Yeah.
I'm
She's
in.
willing.
Let's go.
But I'm gonna have to vet you guys too, because Kendra's becoming a friend and I gotta protect this lady. Okay.
That's
That's
right.
all I gotta say. You know what I mean?
I
No,
do.
but no, I that's really why I wanted you on the show. I just wanted to see, not even see, it's just you willing to be on the show just proves to me because I asked a lot of people to be on my show that won't be on my show because truck drivers are not very happy people all the time. And what I respect about them is they will say what they feel
Yes.
and they'll tell you like it is. So they tell me like it is all the time. And
Yes.
the less that companies in general are afraid of that
Yeah.
and just really listen in and tap into that, then that's a good thing. But no, it's great to have you on the show. What's the plan? Any Christmas plans? Let's go light here before we end the show.
Like, well, I had to make Thanksgiving dinner, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I dried my turkey out, and so I've gotta do a repeat. I gotta do a whole redo.
You
I'm not
messed it up.
doing turkey. I mean, I kind of did. I
You
left
messed
it
it
in
up.
a little too long, just a little too long.
Oh
I had a
dang.
ham though as a backup, and the ham
Uh,
was perfect.
oh yeah, you
So
look.
I think we're doing maybe a prime rib, maybe
Hell yeah.
another ham, because again, that was
Hell
a
yeah.
crowd pleaser. I think that's happening. But yeah, it's at my house. Thanksgiving was at my house. Christmas is at my house. So we're doing that. What are you doing?
Yes. I'm hanging out. I don't even know what I'm doing. I just moved to Houston,
Oh,
and so I did a bucket list. I sold my house in South Florida.
Yeah.
cashed out my mom and dad on a house.
Yes.
And then I bought a house. I went broke after I cashed them out, so I was able to put the minimum, which is now 20%. You already know, that dude, I wish I could do a FHA loan, but,
Really.
it's great. It's this weird thing where I truly never thought that me talking some shit on about trucking, hanging out, and being a trucker myself, that it would lead to people like yourself that would take your time, which is valuable to your people, man, and you're giving it to us, and I think that's good. You know what I mean? And so I'm more appreciative of that. Like this is awesome. And
Yeah.
I would love to have you on the show again anytime that you have something new, or by then we could do a live, and that'd be great. We got to get you
Would be
used to
great.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because these folks, you just got to know the internet. Trolls will be trolls, and they'll just, you know what I mean? Whatever they think they could say to you, that's the meanest thing they could say to you.
Yes.
Double that times 10, and
Right.
that's what they're gonna say about you. And
Right.
then, but I think this is a good move. The good move is, you want to listen to these carriers.
Yeah.
This is the move right here. And yeah, some of it, if they had a bad experience, you know how that goes.
I do. I do. And I do want to hear about the experiences. It makes us better when we get feedback. Like I said, we're for the carriers, and talking to Alex, the legend,
You
is
better
something
stop.
that my team
Something
likes
true.
doing.
It's. I think this is a good thing. I think this is good. No, thank you for giving up your time.
Yeah.
At the end, anything you want to let the world know?
Have a very good Christmas. Here's to a terrific 2025, right? For
Oh,
us
we
all.
need it. Oh,
Let's
we
do
need it.
that.
Yeah, let's put some more money in people's pockets, man. I'm
Yes.
sick of being broke.